Hello everybody and welcome to this video. It's another in the Student Exemplar series, and if you don't know what that is, basically if you've done a really good piece of work that you're proud of, send it to me, info@mrbruff.com, and if I use it in a video I'll send you free ebooks, my guide to English language and my guide to English literature. You can remain anonymous if you want to, or I can shout your name from the rooftops. Now, this is a piece of work from a student studying on the Edexcel exam board. The Macbeth extract is the Act 1, Scene 7, If It Were Done soliloquy. And on Edexcel, this student tells me, the language analysis is required but no context. So if you're studying on AQA, for example, you would bring in context. So if you're thinking, where's the context? It's because this student isn't assessed on context. So check out Act 1, Scene 7, the soliloquy from Macbeth, and we'll have a look through the answer, looking for what makes it great and how it could be improved. So it's explore how Shakespeare presents Macbeth's state of mind in this extract. Firstly, the discordant rhetoric used by Macbeth highlights his agitated state of mind. The soliloquy begins with a monosyllabic sentence which emphasizes the intense process of deliberation occurring within Macbeth. Shakespeare has put stress on the word done with the use of iambic meter in order to show how Macbeth desires results, i.e. King Duncan's death, without himself acting. Furthermore, surcease and success are juxtaposed to bring out the half rhyme. This portrays their interconnection. Macbeth craves Duncan's death but cannot reconcile his thoughts with action as the half-rhyme produces a discordant tone. Here Shakespeare has brought out Macbeth's inner turmoil, which may make him sympathetic towards the audience and thus fulfill the tragedy genre. Although he is contemplating regicide, the fact that he is struggling to commit shows that he is not wholly evil. So just thinking about this paragraph, obviously it contains some amazing ideas, but I feel it contains 3 or 4 ideas that aren't fully explained. Now, there's different ways of looking at this. One approach would be to say, well, here's 3 or 4 ideas that could be 3 or 4 different paragraphs on their own. They're that good. The other thing, though, is if you explain something and you have a really good idea but it's not fully analysed, it actually leaves the examiner thinking, come on, I want more. So let's break this paragraph down, because clearly this student is a genius. They wanted to remain anonymous, but I think this person knows who they are and it's absolutely fantastic. But it's all sort of rushed together. So let's have a think about the topic sentence. Says the discordant rhetoric used by Macbeth highlights his agitated state of mind. Then we've got the fact that the soliloquy begins with a monosyllabic sentence. Now there's no quotation of that sentence. It would have been useful to have a quotation there. But there's the statement that that monosyllabic sentence emphasizes how intense this thinking is. And then, so we've got that idea, the monosyllabic sentence. Then we've got the idea that the stress is on the word done, using the iambic meter to show his desire for results. Then we've got the juxtaposition of surcease and success to bring out the half rhyme, which portrays their interconnection. Macbeth wants Duncan dead but can't reconcile his thoughts, and the half rhyme produces a discordant tone, which is absolutely the most genius idea I think I've heard in my whole lifetime. And then it's explained that all of that together has the combined effect of making us sympathetic towards Macbeth because he is struggling. So I would have probably said something in my topic sentence along the lines of, to begin with, Shakespeare uses the monosyllabic sentence, iambic meter and half rhyme to present the inner turmoil Macbeth is experiencing. Then I would have gone through them, fully explaining each one. Is each one fully explained here? I think the idea that it's monosyllabic, which shows the process of deliberation, is not really fully explained. There's certainly not a quotation which would be useful. The idea of the stress on the word done is good. The half rhyme is good. So I just think a little bit stronger of a topic sentence which explained exactly what this paragraph is going to be about, and then fully explaining and giving a quotation for each idea would have just topped it off nicely. As it is, it's fantastic, but it still could have been that little bit better. In addition, logic is something that Macbeth tries to assert during this soliloquy. This presents him as both tenacious and cold-blooded. That's a much better topic sentence for me. It's saying, look, here's the thing, logic, and this is what it makes us think about him. Macbeth lists the reasons why killing Duncan would be unnatural by highlighting his purity. He uses words such as meek and virtues, semantic fields pertinent to benevolence, in order to talk himself out of it. His state of mind, therefore, is shown as a very rational but still volatile, as he was unsure of himself prior. Shakespeare has made Macbeth's mind oscillate from instability to rationality in order to highlight the dangerous nature of committing regicide. It dissolves your ability to remain morally and mentally stable. The words deep damnation convey the awareness Macbeth has that murdering Duncan would be a mortal sin through the dental quality of the alliteration. Moreover, Shakespeare has also used a horse-riding extended metaphor, such as vaulting ambition which overleaps itself, to display Macbeth's knowledge that ambition will lead to disaster. Despite this showing of his logical mind, the fact that he is aware of the duplicity of his soon-to-be crime displays a more ruthless character because he is seriously considering regicide. So what I love about this, among other things, is the fact that it continually links back to the question. It's not just a mistake a lot of us fall into, which is to sort of say, oh, I found a device, I found something that Shakespeare's doing here. You know, I found the idea that this is a semantic field or an extended metaphor or alliteration. What it actually does is says, and here's how all of those things link to the question. The only bit that I think is a little bit underdeveloped is the idea of how a horse riding metaphor displays his knowledge that it will lead to disaster, because I'm not sure of the link between horse riding and disaster. But again, you know, some absolutely amazing ideas, and there's no doubt that this student would get the grade 9, even with the little things I'm picking out, because this is fantastic work. Finally, Shakespeare uses an antithetical structure to convey the motif of good and evil. He draws on this dichotomy to mirror Macbeth's morally ambiguous state of mind. The string image of good is portrayed by Duncan's character, a newborn babe, connotes innocence and vulnerability, and is a metaphor for how pity from Duncan's death will cause tears capable of drowning wind. This contrasts the evil act Macbeth will perform. However, it is euphemized to highlight his uncertainty. The soliloquy has had its tone set at the start through the word if. The use of the conditional tense underpins Macbeth's apprehensive mind. Through this, Shakespeare can represent Macbeth's humanity. He's placed between the wholly evil witches and the wholly good God in order to express his compound nature. This is only brought out when faced with an important moral decision. His mental deliberation is a symbol of the human struggle to remain pure in the face of temptation. Again, a very similar paragraph, a mixture of lots of different ideas, very strong ideas, very well explained. The analysis is solid in this paragraph. So clearly a grade 9 answer. I think one of the things that's interesting is the highest marks, certainly on the AQA exam board, are given for a conceptualized response. And what that really means is that you have a theory or an idea which you then use the text to explore. And what we want to do is to avoid our answer reading as just sort of a, here's a paragraph of some ideas, and then here are some other ideas, and then here are some other ideas. So a one-sentence introduction would have helped to string all this together, a sort of overarching idea about what the answer is going to explore, which would be, something along the lines of Macbeth has a agitated state of mind. On the one hand, there's lots of evidence that he wants to kill Duncan, and on the other hand, there is evidence to suggest that he doubts or questions his choice. And that would have just given it that line of argument. And then I would have perhaps used the first paragraph to look at the evidence that he wants to kill, and the next bit to look at the evidence that he doesn't. Just to give it a sort of a line of argument, a conceptual response, which would have meant that it read and flowed as a sort of a theory throughout the piece. What we've got are some absolutely amazing ideas, but they don't necessarily follow one coherent line of argument. They're kind of all thrown in together. But again, I'm picking tiny little details on a piece of work that I'm sure leaves all of us very intimidated.